Hi people, my name is Nomatamsangamdlazi and I create content on life, mental wellness and personal development. I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this wonderful conversation today. So if you just came in for the first time, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel and you share it to other people as well. So if it's your second, it's your third time, or however many times you've been here, thank you so much for becoming a part of this community. Let's grow together and find the best versions of ourselves. So in this conversation today, I want to share with you lessons from Mastery or Mastery by Robert Greene. So last month I've been reading this book and it has literally shaped how I see the manner in which I should step into my career and just as well just get to build anything what it is that I want to do. So this book is definitely for people who want to build out of something out of life, people who want to step into their career or find their feet in their career, or just create a business or build something that is of impact, right? So it's definitely for those people who want to find themselves and see through the strategies to work out on the things that they want to work out on in life, to get to a point where they are literally able to create an impact in the world. My grandfather used to say this, that in life you can't just be born, eat and die. You have to create an impact. You have to create something out of your life. You have to determine your fate, right? And you can't really do that if you don't challenge your potential, and maybe you just stick into one thing and then realize that that's where it is, that's where it has to end, one job or whatever. But you have to get to a point where you challenge yourself, you challenge your potential to see what it is that you're capable of achieving for yourself and for the world as a person, right? So definitely this book, it just helps you deal with the internal processes within you as a person, because you know, like as an individual, we normally have certain struggles, different traumas, and all these struggles, they always hinder us in getting into the spaces we're meant to be, in creating the impact that we're supposed to be. So this book helps you deal with the feelings of inferiority, your mental and emotional struggles, just learning how to detach from anything that you do as a person, so that you could be able to literally just see your work with the eyes of other people, right? It also teaches you as well on how to react to criticisms, and just be able to handle it the right way, such that in the process you don't literally just lose your life, you don't lose yourself, you don't lose your reputation, because you literally have to be able to understand how to navigate the social space, so that you don't really struggle at the end of the day. So please just stick around in this video until the end, so that we can just learn how best can we find ourselves, how can we find our feet in terms of our career, in terms of business, or whatever impact that we want to create out of life itself. So without any waste of time, please make sure that you stick around in this channel until the end. Thank you so much. So these are the 8 lessons from Mastery by Robert Greene. The first lesson is number 1, value learning over money, right? That is the rule wherever you go, whatever it is that you want to achieve out of life. You should prioritize learning, the learning processes itself, instead of hovering around and just demanding money, right? So he makes an example of a lady who focused on her craft, which was dancing, and she says that this lady learned to get by with the little money and make the most out of her youthful energy, right? So that's the rule wherever you go, that really you have to focus on the craft, on the work itself, instead of really demanding money, right? Because the problem is that if you rush over money, it means that over time you will lose the money and you won't be able to create the money, because you don't have the craft, you don't have the skill, right? So the number one rule in building anything in life, focus on valuing the learning process itself. And this is the rule wherever you go. In personal finance, there's this book by Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki, right? The number one rule in that book, in that whole entire book, it says that work to learn, do not work to earn, right? Work to learn and do not work to earn, right? So the process really, wherever you go, just work to learn, do not work for money, right? That's the number one rule wherever you go. Just focus on the learning process itself in anything that you do. I know we want all the flashy things, everything. We want money, right? That's what we're rushing for. But the reality of life is just the opposite. If you want to create an impact or build a career or do whatever, just focus on really just prioritizing the learning process itself, right? So he says that you must never disdain an apprenticeship with no pay, right? In fact, it is often the height of wisdom to find the perfect mentor and offer your services as an assistant for free, right? Happy to exploit your cheap and eager spirit, such mentors will often divulge more than the usual trade secrets. In the end, by valuing learning above all else, you will set the stage for your creative expansion, and the money will soon come to you. That is the truth, the nature, and the reality of the process itself. So in any endeavor, whatever it is that you're trying to figure out in life, it's either it's your career, it's work, it's business, it's whatever it is, your NGO, or anything that does resonate you to a deeper level and you want to build something out of it, you have to prioritize and value the learning processes itself before literally getting to a point where you think you deserve money, or just prioritize learning itself instead of money. Prioritize learning itself instead of money. Prioritize that and you'll finally get to where you're supposed to be as a person, right? Lesson number 2 is that keep expanding your horizon, right? So when you are young, you have all the energy to go wherever and do whatever. That is the privilege of being young, right? And when you get on older, yes, you don't have money in your 20s, you don't have money when you're young, right? But you have all the energy to do anything, right? But so most importantly is to expand your horizon, go to different places, see different people, expose yourself in different circumstances, so that's how you will gain just seeing things differently as a person, right? Just knowing how to expand your horizon. Just don't get stuck in one thing, in one place as a person. You have all the youthful energy with you right now in your 20s or whenever, but just focus on really building and expanding your horizon as a person. Because when you get on older, you might have all the money, but in reality, you will not have the youthful energy that you have. So exploit your youthful energy. Just get the most out of your youthful energy itself, right? So he says that be relentless in your pursuit for expansion. Whenever you feel like you are settling into some circle, force yourself to shake things up and look for new challenges, right? As Huston did when she left Howard for Harlem, right? That's how you do it. You focus on really expanding your horizon, do more of the difficult things as a person, and just expose yourself in different circumstances. That's how you will literally just continue to to find a better version of yourself as a person, because you don't get stuck into one thing, right? You challenge yourself to go to different places, to meet different people. That is the rule. That is the second rule in building whatever it is that you want to build as a person, right? You focus really in expanding your horizon, just understanding that you can't be stuck doing one thing or in one area or whatever. Just go somewhere, meet different people, see different things. That is how you will realize that now as a person you do evolve, you do change, and you afford yourself that privilege to expose yourself to different things, right? So rule number 3 is that revert to a feeling of inferiority, right? I absolutely love this, right? So this inferiority here, aka humility, right? I absolutely love it, because that is how you will actually learn as a person, right? When you are humble as a person, where you feel a bit not much qualified, you don't feel superior to the process or whatever it is that you should be doing, but you are literally just have this feeling of inferiority, and you understand that that is when you can actually learn anything, because you don't undermine, you don't feel superior to the process itself, you don't feel superior to the process of learning itself. So he says that we have the remarkable capability of returning to a childlike spirit, right? Especially in moments in which we must learn something. Well, into our 50s and beyond, we can return to that sense of wonder and curiosity, reviving our youth and apprenticeship, right? Understand, when you enter a new environment, your task is to learn and absorb as much as possible, right? For that purpose, you must try to revert to a childlike feeling of inferiority, right? The feeling that others know much more than you, the feeling that others know more than you, and that you are dependent upon them to learn and safely navigate your apprenticeship, right? You drop all your preconceptions about an environment or field, right? So most importantly, in finding your feet, either in your career, in a business or anything, just be humble enough to learn, right? Have this feeling of inferiority, this feeling of knowing that you don't know anything, right? This feeling of knowing that you're highly dependent on other people. That is how you will grow. That is how you will learn absolutely as a person, right? So in this book, he shares a story of a guy and a lady who actually went somewhere, because these are Christian people. They are trying to find different ways to translate a Bible to that particular language, right? To the people of that area. So they had to go to that place and actually just live with those people, and got to learn how the language is being spoken. And when Robert Greene narrates the story, he says that this guy got deeper into a feeling of inferiority, because he had to go into that place with a childlike mentality, right? That is how he got to learn the language of the people in that place, and finally got to be able to translate the Bible to that language. That is such a powerful achievement, really, of getting to a point where you can literally do amazing things, because you understand that you can always revert to a feeling of inferiority, a feeling of a childlike state, a feeling of humility, and I think a feeling of, the way he says it, that revert to a feeling of inferiority, it's even more it is way deeper than humility. Humility is really being humble, but a feeling of inferiority, we don't want to get there. We don't want to be in that state. of literally feeling inferior. We don't want to get there. But Robert Greene here says that you should get here so that you can be open to learning and just exploring, which is literally a perfect example to a perfect place to just start in your learning journey. And then you will get to a point where you feel more superior and you can actually, because you've got knowledge, right? That is the important part, right? So he says that this position is of course only temporary, right? You are reverting to feeling of independence so that within 5 to 10 years you can learn enough to finally declare your independence and enter full adulthood. But in reality, guys, the truth is that in life, if you have this feeling of superiority, you think you're all knowing, you're just full of yourself in any pursuit, in any endeavor, like there's certain things that you miss. Like you miss certain things because you always think that you know. So really, this book teaches us to literally be humble, to revert to feelings of inferiority, because those are the feelings that actually afford you a lot of things in life, because you get to be humble to just learn anything, everywhere, wherever, as a person. And that is such a beautiful state to continuously just always tap into as a person. You literally just detach from who you are, and you always not much of somebody who's just full of themselves, who always think that they know, because it means that you can get anywhere and just absolutely just learn anything. And there's this quote by Mark Manson. He says that we don't want difficult things because we always say they are difficult, but in reality they are just emotionally difficult, and we refuse to focus to do those things because we think they are difficult, but in reality it's just that they are just emotionally difficult. They are draining emotionally, and therefore we conclude that they are difficult, and therefore we let go of those things. So this book, this lesson number 3, it teaches us to just revert to a feeling of inferiority, just embracing humility itself, so that you can actually get to learn as a person. That is how you can actually learn things easier, if you are in that state of feeling inferior or just getting to be more humble as a person, right? So the 4th lesson is that trust the process. It's very important that whatever pursuit you get into as a person, it is something that does resonate with you at a deeper level, right? Because can you see now that you have to trust the process? So if you're doing things that your grandmother, your parents, or whatever tells you to do, or whoever tells you to do, then you won't be able to have that gut to trust the process. It means that you have to trust the process. Whatever it is that you do, you have to have a level of trust in it, right? He says that when it comes to mastering a skill, time is the magic ingredient, right? Assuming your practice proceeds at a steady level, over days and weeks, certain elements of the skill become hardwired. That is the truth, right? Slowly, the entire skill becomes internalized, part of your nervous system. It is a miraculous sensation, and practice will lead you to that point, no matter the talent you are born with. The only real impediment to this is yourself and your emotions, boredom, panic, frustration, and insecurity, right? And I realize this now, that most of us, we just have all this emotional entanglements in anything that we do. And that is a hindrance, that is a setback, that blocks your success, your progress in anything that you're supposed to be doing. So in reality, we have to learn how to detach from all these things and just focus on the learning process itself, on mastering the skill itself, because there's no magic, really. There's no magic. Time is the best ingredient in mastering and learning anything as a person, right? It's either in your career or in business or in whatever it is that you want to build out of life, right? So he says that the panic disappears after repeated exposure, right? That is the truth, right? The frustration is a sign of progress, a signal that your mind is processing complexity and requires more practice, right? The insecurities will transform into their opposites when you gain mastery. That's just how it is, right? So that is how you can get to trust the process, right? Just understanding that just a repeated exposure in whatever it is that you do will finally gain you confidence to continue with the process, and so that your mind does not really struggle much in whatever skill that you're trying to master. That is the most important part, just knowing how to trust the process, trust whatever it is, whatever endeavor you're actually stepping into. So whatever it is that you do, it has to resonate with you at a deeper level, so that you are able to trust the process and you are able to apply all these principles Robert Greene talks about in trusting the process, in trusting whatever it is that you do as a person, right? So the fifth lesson from Mastery by Robert Greene is that move toward resistance and pain. This has been one of my latest lessons for the past 3 months, people, that really life is all about resistance. It's all about pain. And it's funny how we always move away from such feelings of resistance and pain. We always run away from pain. And I'm at a point in my life where I want to embrace pain. I want to embrace resistance itself. The fact that my brain tells me to do the opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing, and there's this other voice that tells me to do what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and then the other voice says the opposite. Just embracing that resistance and understanding that is how this battle, if I actually win it in terms of what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'll be finding myself way better. And it means that I'm improving as a person. I'm embracing resistance of nature itself. I'm learning to do more of the things that I'm supposed to be doing, even if I don't feel like it as a person, right? Because of my emotions and feelings, and it says that the thing is, if you always rely on feelings and emotions to do anything that you're supposed to be doing, it means that in reality you won't be able to achieve anything out of life, right? So the best thing is to move through past that resistance and pain, those feelings of anxiety or whatever. Move past them and focus on what it is that you're supposed to be doing, right? So in really moving towards resistance and pain, Robert Greene says that first, you resist the temptation to be nice to yourself. That's just how it is. You become your own worst critic. You see your work as if through the eyes of others, right? You recognize your weaknesses, precisely the elements of you are not good at all. Precisely the elements you are not good at, right? So if you can detach emotionally from your work or whatever it is that you do, it means that you can see your work with the eyes of others, right? And when you are emotionally detached to certain things, it means that you are able to point the wrongs in whatever it is that you do as a person, right? And that is such a beautiful perspective, because whatever it is that you know it's your work, you would want to pamper it, and you would never really want anyone to say anything that is of criticism to it, right? But if you can see it through the eyes of others, then it means that you're able to see the wrong, the fault in your work, right? It says that constantly pushing yourself past perceived limits, right? In this way, you develop your own standards for excellence generally higher than those of others, right? Because you are more intentional about focusing on what it is that you want to build as a person. You're more intentional about focusing deeper within your potential as a person and what it is that you want to offer to the world. You continuously push yourself to higher limits, right? You're challenging your potential, right? So there was this video I was watching of Beyonce getting interviewed. They're asking her what is such a competitive whatever, why is, right? And Beyonce is like, no, I am not a competitive person. As far as I know, I think I compete with myself. And really, her competing with herself is just evident in how she does her music. Her music is very unique, right, in its own way, right? So in life, really, to be able to achieve anything out of life, you have to compete with yourself, push yourself past limits, right? Past like perceived limits, just he says here, that you just push yourself to such limits. That is how you will finally achieve and attain your greatest potential as a person, right? So let's go on to rule number 7 or rule number 6. That's where we are. Apprentice yourself in failure. This has been my favorite lesson as well. Just learning to embrace failure and understand that it is just part of life. We can't avoid it no matter how much we like. But anyway, it is an opportunity to figure out the wrongs, to work out on the wrongs, because at least you can see them, right? It says that such malfunctions generally show you inherent flaws and means of improvement, right? You simply keep tinkering until you get it right. That's just how it is. The same should apply to an entrepreneurial venture, right? Mistakes and failures are precisely your means of education. That is the rule with wherever you go. When you fail, when you struggle, when you stumble, understand that that is a means to your education. Take that as an opportunity to learn how to do better, how to advance in whatever it is that you did, right? They tell you about your own inadequacies, right? It does make so much sense. I absolutely love how Robert Greene tackled this one, just about how failure it is, how he explains failure. He just helps us see it from a different perspective. So this is my favorite, and I've always quoted this even before I read this book. So he says that your failures also permit you to see the flaws of your ideas, which are only revealed in the execution of them, right? So just failing in any pursuit, in any endeavor, allows you to see where are the wrongs, right? And like literally just getting to a point where you fail, understand that that is an opportunity for you to just see to see where are the wrongs you've committed, right? So you can never really see that your ideas are flawed, your ideas are not good enough in reality, unless if you get to fail. Failure is an opportunity to invent. Failure is an opportunity to see a different perspective, right? That's just how it is. So he says that there are two kinds of failure. First comes from never trying out your ideas, which is literally just something you should never indulge in. Never trying out your ideas. No, you should focus on executing all your ideas, right? Without fear, favor, or anything, right? Never trying out your ideas because you are afraid or because you are waiting for the perfect time. Eliminate that. Execute all your ideas. That is how you get the most out of life itself. This kind of failure you can never learn from. You can never learn from keeping your ideas to yourself, because you're just treating them like babies, and then you don't allow them to actually be there to expose it to the world, right? And such timidity will destroy you. That's how he says it. The second kind comes from a bold and venturesome spirit, right? If you fail in this way, the hit that you take to your reputation is greatly outweighed by what you learn, right? Perfect. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. And that's the truth. That's the nature and the reality of it. So that repeated failure itself, it affords you the opportunity to actually see at a deeper reality of how things should be done, right? In fact, it is a curse to have everything go right on your first attempt, right? You should understand that things should not go right, and when you're trying out things, you are bound to fail. Failure is literally a stepping opportunity to actually work out on things in life, right? You will fail to question the element of like, making you think that you have the golden touch, right? You can't really build anything out of life if you never really fail, right? Even business people, wherever, they say that failure is part of the process. I still remember someone spoke about this as well, that entrepreneurship carries the lessons on life, right? So because they know that you have to fail, you have to do this, you have to do this. So there's a lot of these things. Most importantly is understanding that you should get to that point where you are more intentional about learning through the work, and whatever pursuit that you're getting into, it's your career, it's your business, it's your whatever, is impact that you're trying to create. Yes, you might fail, but failure is an opportunity for you to see the things that actually don't work. That is how you will find yourself to a point where you're getting closer to the reality of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, of all your ideas actually, right? So lesson number 7, it says that combine the how and the what, right? Just combine the things that are really important in life, right? Understand how to create the dots and just build something out of life. We should always constantly ask why, how, and what it is that you're trying to create out of life, so that you can actually just get to a point where you can create an impact, and you actually know what it is that you're working on. Most importantly is to connect those dots so that you can literally just figure out the best way out of life, of whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, right? Lesson number 8 says that you should advance through trial and error, right? So most importantly is for you to have the intention to focus all your energies, your mental and emotional energies, in trying out different ideas, in working out on your ideas, right? You focus on trial and error. Obviously, you can't expect error because you understand that failure is part of the process, right? In any pursuit, in any endeavor, in anything that you're trying to make that is of impact, it can never be a huge success without you failing, without you struggling there and there. Most importantly is for you to have the intention to literally get to learn, understand things from a better perspective, advance through trial and error. Just have the intention of actually learning. That is how you will find get to a point where you can actually learn different things, and you can actually create the impact that you want to create. You can actually build that career. You can actually step your feet and find your feet in whatever it is that you do as a person. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this conversation. I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this wonderful conversation today. I hope that you've learned as much as I have learned from these lessons, because really the reality is that out of life there's a lot of we always praise fleshy things, all these wonderful things, but in reality it takes effort, it takes sweat to actually accumulate those things, and we should be ready to get to a point where we are literally able to focus on getting the work, on applying effort and getting things done. That is the most important aspect in this. So I thank you so much for listening, for watching in this conversation, and I hope that you've learned as much as I have did. So if you find this content that it resonates with you at a deeper level, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, you join our community, you hit that notification bell, you like, you share to other people, so that we could grow together as a community and find our highest and best selves. Thank you so much, and I hope that you keep well, you preserve your mental, your emotional, and continue to learn in advancing yourself as a person. Thank you so much for becoming a part of this community.